The Concordia Digital Edition is here. I've been really excited about this one. If you haven't had a chance to try Concordia yet, you're going to want to. I'm going to teach you how to play here today on Legendary Tactics. Now, I've been through this tutorial already. It's okay. I think it's a little bit easier to follow if you have played the game before. But the essentials are that this is a game where it is a deck builder. You have to manage your hand as well, and you have to manage resources as well. It's a great combination, and I'm hoping to get across a sense of a little bit of how it works today. I don't know if this is, again, the best way to learn from this digital tutorial. If anything, I find if you know Concordia already, it is a great way to maybe refresh your memory on how to play, but also to see how the digital edition works. And that's where I think the real value is. So if you remember, you have the sesterti, sorry, that's the money. I may call it dollars throughout this video. And you have your storehouse in the bottom, so it kind of shows your spaces there. Now, as I was clicking around on it, you can't expand it, so you just have to use the small display, which works fine. It's sometimes nice to have it in a larger format, but that's functional. And you can see that there's different materials here. There's carpets and wine and iron and so forth. So and there's also, you have colonists as well, and they can be either colonists in the sort of what you might think of more traditionally, where they're walking around, and you've also got ships as well. On the map, everyone starts in Roma, and you expand from there, and you use these paths by sea or by land to get to the other cities and connect, essentially like a trade network or something like that. But I'll walk through the tutorial. As I said, it's maybe not the absolute best way to learn this game, but at least it'll give you a flavor. If you haven't tried this game before, or if you have played the game before and need a refresher, this tutorial gives you a pretty good sense of what's going on that way. So you start with 2 colonists inside the starting city, in this case Roma. Land colonists are displayed on the left, sea colonists on the right. And then every turn you play a card to perform an action. And cards are then discarded into a personal discard pile. And then once your cards are down to a certain level, you don't have a lot of choices. It's kind of one of the neat dynamics of this game, is that you kind of are given your full hand, and you gradually play it out. But as you play it out, you're going to narrow down your available actions. The Tribune card here will allow you to pick up your discard pile, and you gain a dollar for every card if you get cards in excess of 3. So you don't want to sort of play 1 or 2 cards and then just pick up again. That's not going to benefit you as much. And you include the Tribune in that count. Basically, the Tribune allows you to drop your hand again and play it out again. And so it's going to be, the timing of playing the Tribune is really key in this game. So we're just going to start out by playing the Architect card to perform a move and build. You can drag the card over to the more info thing here, and it will give you more detail. So you have those are feet, by the way, 1 footprint for each colonist placed on the board. Then you can build in cities adjacent to your colonists. So that's really handy, having that little more info tab over on the side there, just in case you need it. So we're going to play the Architect there, and when we click on Roma, you can see the footprints appear. So the colonists that, again, the colonists that move by land have to stay on the land lines. The ships have to stay on the sea. And each move requires 1 movement point. So you can see the available movement points over here on the side. Down here, it's just tucked into the corner there. And it just gives you the little indicator with the footprints. Again, the displays on this digital edition are a little bit on the smaller side, but I think once you know where to look, I think it's fine. And as long, hopefully you're not using a tiny screen though. And then you can distribute the movement points between your colonists as you see fit. Now, I'm going to move 1 of each, I think, just to get some connections going by sea as well as by land. So, and the colonists can pass each other, but they cannot finish a turn on a line already occupied by another colonist. So, once you stake a claim there, essentially it's yours. You can sit on it. So, so we're going to move the land colonist to this point here, and we'll move our ship to this line here, and that's going to give us a good balance. And then once we're all done, then we click on the confirm movement. If you see the green check mark, that means to end a turn, and if you see a card with an up arrow, then that gives you a hint. Otherwise, it's confirm action. So we'll just confirm the action. Oh, we got to move on to the next screen first. There, okay. So the money cost, the sestertii cost of building increases with the number of houses already constructed in that city. And again, this display part is a little bit small, but I think you'll get the idea. The second house in the city costs twice as much in sestertii, and the third 3 times as much, and so forth. There are also other costs, but you can only have 1 house in each city. So we're going to build the house in a wine-producing city, the one that's cheaper to build in, and you can only build houses in cities adjacent to the lines with your colonists. So you have to expand your influence. You can't build anywhere on the board or across the board at any time. So so we're going to build in the cheaper one here. So that's going to cost us some stuff, and then we end the turn. So that was our card, which was the architect card, and that allowed us to to kind of move and build, essentially. Next up is the prefect card to start production in a province. So the prefect card allows you to produce in an active province, and you get a bonus good for playing it, or you can get 2 sestertii, dollars, or whatever, money, and reactivate 1 province. So when you produce in an active province, after you produce, it becomes inactive, and so you can use the prefect to reactivate the province, get some money into the bargain. And there are times when you want to do that. So, but we'll produce in an active province and gain a good from a bonus marker. Okay, so this is essentially when you activate a province, the cities that you control give you a good, right? So we're going to choose this province here, Gallia, and so that all houses in that province generate 1 good, and that includes your opponent's houses. This is why it's kind of an interesting balance. The player who used the production action gets the province's bonus good, which is here on the flag. So French wine is obviously a highly prized good in Gallia, so that's what we get an extra of when we take this production action. So so you can see in Spain it's carpets, which is interesting. Same with Germany, actually. So that's interesting. Okay, and so there's another Prefectus Magnus as well. It's a card that belongs to the player whose turn is last, and once it's used, the card goes to the second to last player, and so forth. So that card kind of moves around. And again, this is I find that this tutorial really kind of glosses over that, but if the player has that Prefectus Magnus card during production, they receive 1 additional good from the province's bonus marker. So again, in that province's native good. So we're going to confirm that, and we get 3 wine as a result. All right, so that is great. Now the province is inactive, so you can see it's got the money symbol there. And so that is just essentially meaning that it won't produce a good. It has to be reactivated first, and then it can, start producing a good again. So my opponent produces in Spain and gets some carpets, and carpets are generally the best. They're the most prized of the goods in this game. So So if a player chooses to use a prefect to reactivate a province, then they get the sum of all sesterty on all the bonus markers, and then all inactive provinces become active again. So one of the nice things about Concordia that you'll find is that it's got this nice balancing mechanism where you can say, well, I could produce, or I could play the card, reactivate all the provinces, get a bunch of money, but is it the right time? Should I wait one more turn? There's a lot of that kind of dynamic that goes on. It's a really neat game for that. There's a real nice kind of push and pull between the players. It's why I've always really enjoyed this game. So you play the prefect card to reactivate the province, which we'll do. And because we can reactivate 3 provinces, we get $5 for that, which is pretty sweet. And so we've reactivated Spain, Italy, and or Italia, Hispania, and Gallia. So, all right, so that's our turn. So just to illustrate how that works. Now we'll look at buying and selling goods. One of the things that you can do with goods is you can actually trade them. So you can use them for, obviously purchasing things and whatever. But the Mercantor card allows you to buy and sell items. Okay, so you can see that in the interface there's going to be up and down arrows that are going to show you the changes to levels of goods. Okay, and this is the price level. So you can see the carpets are the most expensive, whereas the brick and the wheat tend to be a little more on the lower end. And so you have the option to buy and sell whatever you want within the limits of your storehouse. You can see I've only got one space left, so I'm not going to be able to buy any more than I have room for. So once again, there's this neat balancing mechanic here where you have you have to think about the resources you want to have, but also you're kind of limited by the space that you have in hand. So tell you what, I'm gonna sell a wine. There we go. And well, maybe we'll sell 2 wine. Why not? And we'll do that, and then we'll buy some carpet. There we go. Gotta love that. So that is how the Mercantor card goes. So there's always opportunities if you happen to have a lot of high value goods. There's a lot of opportunity there to sell it and get some money. It's important to remember as well, players all start the game with the same set of cards. It's like Dominion or any other deck builder. Everyone generally starts with the same deck, and then they play their cards. But the cards handle everything, including building, movement, production, everything. However, you can also buy additional cards. This is where the deck building part comes in. So there are copies of the starting cards and some new ones, and as the game progresses, you get access to cooler and cooler ones as well. And so you can play a card. There's some cards like the senator, which allows you to purchase up to 2 new personality cards, right? And you can also the diplomat is also handy to use a personality card on top of their discard, on an opponent's discard pile. So that's pretty neat. I don't think the tutorial goes into that one though, but it just talks about the cost of the card and the cost of the slot. So the card itself is going to have a cost, but also where it is along the track is also going to have an additional cost. So typically when a card is new and just appears in the card track, then there's usually an additional cost to purchasing that card. As it moves across, as it becomes older, quote unquote, then the cost decreases because it moves along the different slots, and eventually become that cost is not there. So during every buy action, you'll be reminded how many cards you can buy. And as far as scoring goes, this is kind of what you also need to keep in mind. So every card's connected to a deity that grants victory points. So if I look at my senator, sorry, not my beginner cards actually, I think they're the later cards. They have basically a deity that they are attached to, and that figures in very much into the final scoring. So you can see they've got a kind of it's a bit of a hard chart to see here, but the breakdown could be that if you've got combinations of different cards, then they will give you kind of sort of multiples of points. So it's something that you want to also think about when you're buying your cards. Each scoring type is connected to different aspects of the game. So for example, number of colonists on the board, number of temple cities, right? So you want to look at your civilization and see where you can kind of maximize your scoring. For example, if you have, let's say Mars, for example, and you know that you're going to get, you just multiply the number of colonists on the board, that gives you times the number of victory points. That's going to give you 20 victory points. That's going to be a huge deal. You're going to want to have as many colonists on the board as you can. Other ones are going to be building towns, or having money, all that stuff. So as I said, the tutorial doesn't really talk about this that much, but it's just essentially you're going to when your deck is completed at the end of the game, you're going to pick out all the deity cards, and you get points for every matching requirement or aspect of your civilization that you have. I hope I explained that well. It's actually a lot simpler than than maybe I've made it seem. But we're going to take the senator here, and we're going to look at the cards. You can see there's the Minerva here. Now, some of the cards, actually I'll slide along the tracks. You can see this Mercantor is going to cost us an additional 2 carpets in addition to the wine. So we can actually afford it, but it's kind of steep. And as it moves along the track, you can see a box here with a question mark. That means any good is fine as an additional cost. So we can buy 2 cards here. Let's buy this Mercantor. Why not? Just to show you. So the full cost of it then is going to be a wine and 2 carpets. And let's see. So we're just going to buy this colonist as well. So that's going to cost us, in this case, wheat and let's see if we did this right here. Yeah, the wheat, and that's fine. I think we can afford both of those. It's going to take us a lot, but we're going to pay the additional wheat here as our cost. And we bought our 2 cards. Now, it was very expensive. You can see all our goods are gone. However, we got some great cards in our hand, in theory, that improves our deck going forward. So now, normally I wouldn't recommend spending all those resources on buying a card, but since this is the tutorial, and this tutorial just is for illustrative purposes, I don't mind doing it. So now we're at the point where, hey, we're down to the last few cards. Maybe we want to pick up our discard piles. The Tribune card then. You gain 1 sesterty for each card returned in excess of 3. So the more you play out your deck, the more money that's going to return to you. So you get rewarded for playing out the deck that you have, as opposed to turning it over in quick succession. So we'll play the Tribune card here, and we will recoup all of our played cards, and they add them up, and that gives us, in this case, 3 sesterty. So, and as a bonus, we can place a new colonist as part of playing the Tribune card. We get a new colonist in Roma, and we'll choose a ship. Why not? Perfect. All right, we'll end our turn, and then the AI goes next. And so, as you can see, you're going to expand out across the map and build kind of trading routes and try and control provinces so that you can maximize their production. There's a lot going on, even though it's a very relatively straightforward mechanic. I wouldn't say this is a heavy game, and I don't think it's a hard game to learn at all once you've got a handle on it. The strategy involved can be quite involved, though. So, and the game ends when any of the players fulfill one of the conditions. So if you purchase the last personality card from the card display, which is that track that I'd mentioned up here at the top right, or constructing 15 houses, that ends the game. In either case, the player receives the Concordia card, which is worth 7 victory points, and the remaining players get to play their last turn. So you want to be, first to the end. 7 victory points is nothing to sneeze at. So, and then as it says here, more detailed rules can be found in the manual. I would recommend going over the rules. I mean, you can sit down and kind of try and figure this game out from the interface. I think it's doable in this digital adaptation, but it's probably better if you just scan the rules and just treat the tutorial as an overview, as an introduction. And so anyway, great game though. I really recommend this game, and it's been a lot of fun. I've played it live many times, and I'm really excited to start to play a bit more with this digital adaptation. So if you enjoyed this video, if you got some value out of it, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time here on Legendary Tactics.